we can just talk about Dallas real quickly because they ended up losing the finals. And really the two burning questions with them are how much did they disappoint in the finals? And then number one, can they be back in this situation next year or anytime soon? I was really disappointed about Dallas in the finals.
Everyone should be.
And I think this was not the team that I was expecting to show up. I thought Luka would be much better. At 29, 9, and 6, like, it looks great, but didn't reflect that in the impact of the games. I thought he should have been better, 24% from three. And getting that three ball to knock down just opens up his game that much more. And that was just something he couldn't get under him for the entire series. Kyrie in Boston averaged 14, 34% from the field, 17% from three. I mean, wide open threes, he's not hitting. 20 points on 20 shot attempts for the entire series.
Shame,
and then the starter shot 17.6% on wide open threes. Derek Lively on the road averaged 2 points and 5 rebounds per game. At home in Dallas, he was a double-double machine, and he played with a lot of energy. Yeah. And that was the version that I was expecting from him. And then as a team, they shot 68% from the line and 58% from the free throw line. A lot in this series was made, especially after Game 3, about Luka's defense, and I think it's fair to criticize it. But I think there were games where their free throw shooting cost them even more than their defense. Like pivotal possessions where you need those points, they couldn't capitalize. And I thought Dallas played good enough defense to stay in the game. They held them to a 112 offensive rating, but Dallas's offensive rating was a 109.4. So this is a team that they got to make some changes. I think it starts with getting a wing that can shoot and defend.
Great.
I would love for them to bring back Derek Jones Jr., but it has to be the right price point because I think he outplayed his contract currently. Sure. And you don't want to tie him into a deal and then he regresses to the mean. I do think that this team will be better with continuity. They went 35-16, a 69% win percentage. That would have been good for third in the West. So I think you get a healthier version of Luka. Kyrie is healthy for the first half of the season. It could be better, but you come away from this year with Dallas. It was a successful season. You ran into a better team against Boston, but you cannot take your foot off the gas because that OKC series could have went either way if some shooting luck was on OKC's side and you took some away from Dallas because PJ and Derek Jones Jr. at the end of the series was red hot. OKC had a lot of open three-point looks that they did not capitalize on, and you were expecting better from shooters like Isaiah Joe, Chet Holmgren, Cason Wallace, even off the bench, who missed some pivotal, tough shots. I think OKC is going to be the toughest team they're probably going to run into from a matchup perspective. Denver's up there too. But this successful season, Luka led like 8 categories in the playoffs. He led first player in NBA history to lead in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. And now it's just getting him a little bit more help so he can get over the hump. But this was a good learning experience for them, and I think they'll be back eventually. Luka will be back eventually, and this is just a fork in the road, and you got to learn from it.
They definitely disappointed. Horrendous shooting performance by the Dallas Mavericks, but a pretty solid showing on the defensive front. But when your team is predicated off two offensive engines, of course, Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, and both of them are struggling, it's going to be a lot more difficult on these role players who benefited a lot off of Kyrie and Luka Doncic playing at a relatively high level through a majority of the postseason and getting these wide open looks. The difference here was they still were having wide open looks. They just weren't converting. We saw P.J. Washington in that Minnesota series slow down, kept that same energy for majority of this series with Boston. Derek Jones Jr. is another one that didn't have that great of a showing. I just look at the Mavericks and where I was anticipating a lot better from these role players because they had been playing so well in this postseason. So, yeah, that's why I was disappointed. Also disappointed in the fact that Kyrie Irving couldn't overcome his demons in Boston. When he went home to Dallas, he was awesome. He gave his best performances of the series by far. But when he went back to Boston, he was a shell of himself. He was obviously not that same player. At this point, I'm convinced that it's in his head that he just can't overcome it. But it was a great stepping stone for the Dallas Mavericks organization. You get to the finals after making it to the WCF 2 years ago. You do have a top 3 player in the world in Luka Doncic. To me, I don't care what your expectations were. You have a top 3 player in the world. You didn't win the finals. You failed. It's okay. You failed. You can come back hit the drawing board, clean up the roster construction, do a little bit better in terms of filling the roster to fit Luka's strengths, put more shooting around him. You already done a great job of putting a great defense around him. He needs to do a better job also this offseason of becoming more locked in on the defensive side of the ball. But offensively, you have nothing to worry about when it comes to Luka. But they disappointed me. Will they be back? I respect Luka Doncic. He deserves that acknowledgement. I think that he obviously has the tools to become a player that makes it back to the finals. But I'm not really sure. I really don't know, because OKC is brewing something that can be one that can take over for some time.
I mean, the Mavericks have seen this before. 2006, make the finals, lose to the Miami Heat, and then get back 5 years later when no one knew if they would. The Western Conference is very deep. You've got 4 or 5 teams. The Mavericks are one of them. But they had the foundation to get back here. When you have a top 3 player in the world with a decent supporting cast, you're already 75% of the way there. Kyrie is only 31 years old. And a big part of this team is that Derek Lively was really good this year. He's 19 years old. You take a step further, guys like Jane Hardy, 21, Josh Green, 23. It's a young supporting cast. P.J. Washington never played in a playoff series before this. Derek Jones Jr. was never a rotation player on a playoff team before this. Continuity is going to be a huge thing for this group, but they're going to need to add more. You were talking about shooting before. I think that's maybe part of it. They need another creator on the wing, and that's why I mentioned Miles Bridges before, just purely on the court. That's the type of archetype you will look for in someone that can slash pretty well off the catch, plays decently off the ball, and is a fine shooter. Not a great one, but a decent one that's respectable. You got to guard him out there. If they get themselves a third ball handler, someone to start a lineup that can force defenses in the rotation, allowing Luka to play more on the block, and then Luka maybe refine some rough edges in this game, I expect Dallas to be back here because Doncic is still just 24 years old.
Yeah, can't let up. I think, Joel, what you said is right. I look at 2 teams in the East who have represented the Eastern Conference the last 2 years in the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics as perfect examples. 2 years ago, the Boston Celtics go to the finals. They come up short. You get one more year with basically the same group. You add in Malcolm Brogdon. Of course, you change coaches. You come up short again in 2023. And now it's like, all right, let's go. Let's make a big change. For the Miami Heat, you can even look shit. You can even look back to the 2020 season. There really hasn't been a ton of change-up. Like, of course, you still have Jimmy Butler and Bam on that team. You've added pieces here and there with guys like Terry Rozier and made some good draft picks and Jaime, but nothing near the moves that Boston made to acquire guys like Drew Holiday and Porzingis that are real legit needle movers that take you from a contender that has a chance to win to the favorite and the team that could potentially win multiple rings in, a few-year time span. For Dallas, though, it's impossible to say, next season if they're going to be back, but it's also hard to say that Luka will never reach this height again. Luka just showed that this is a chance that he's still going to get better from this. He just led the league in scoring, second or third in MVP, goes and has all the numbers in the postseason, but I still firmly believe there's another level to Luka. I do believe that there's a world where he could come into next year more motivated, more in shape, more locked in, that we didn't really see to the top A+ echelon that you have to be to win the NBA Finals. Moves have to be made around the edges of this team, specifically to get kind of a third player on offense that you trust more than P.J. Washington and Derek Jones Jr. And, of course, Derek Lively, I think, is really that X factor there that the potential is off the roof. 19 years old, the 3-point shot, even though he only made and took one.
I think he's going to develop into a guy.
It does look like it's real. Like in warm up, NBA players hit warm up shots, but like even reporters say like it looks so smooth. And to have the confidence to do in the NBA Finals, I think that's something that he's kind of gonna come on as his time in the NBA progresses. But if he's able to become a 3-point shooter with what he does as a defender at the rim and switchability, I mean, you're looking at someone that could legit be like a third option. Of course, he's gonna be limited offensively because he is a big, but someone that could be like a real threat on offense if he's catching lobs, if he's hitting threes. But the West is super good, and the only matchup that I really don't like for them is Denver, just because from a big situation, I love Lively, but he's still going to be 20 years old going into next season, going up in Nikola Jokic, who's a grown-ass man. I think that's still a pretty tough matchup, but against the rest of the West, I do think they overachieved some this season. No one really expected them to go to the finals. I know you were higher than them, Joel, but no one really expected this of them, so they did overachieve. But they shouldn't go into next year thinking we overachieve. You should go into next year thinking like this is what we are. Like we are an NBA Finals caliber team that regardless of matchup, even though I don't like them against Denver, you should feel confident in, because I feel like Minnesota is a lot of different personnel-wise than OKC, and they were able to get past both of them, and the Clippers were a bit banged up, so but they're always banged up, so I'm not giving benefit of the doubt there. I think they're a really good team, but they do need to make some moves to go into next season for me to feel confident in them going back to the NBA Finals.
I think it's totally realistic for Derek Lively to develop into like a Bam Adebayo caliber center.
He needs
a
to
top 25 player.
needs to really refine his mid-range game.
I mean, if he has a three-point shot, that's a huge advantage you'd have over Bam.
Shot the shit out of me.
Because he's taller, he's a lengthier version. I think he has potential to be even a better defender. As great as Bam is on defense,
Lord have mercy.
I think Lively could be a better defender.
Bam's a deep boy, Miles.
Lord have mercy. No.
Bam is just one of the best defenders in the world.
He's versatile, 1 through 5.
One of, if not the most versatile.
He's never going to be as. I think Derek Lively now is probably better rim protector.
And then as a playmaker,
Bam, I think.
Derek
so
Lively's a
much
very
better.
good playmaker.
But he's not. I don't know if he can ever be
Lively's
Bam.
a good passer. Bam Adebayo is an awesome playmaker. I think that'd be incredible.
That's a tough one.
He's got a lot to do offensively to get
Bam's
there.
a special player.
You're telling me in 4 seasons you can't see Derek Lively being Bam Adebayo caliber of center?
No.
I just think Bam Adebayo brings so much value, especially in the postseason. We could see Lively maybe become a top 10 center, but the center position stacked. And Adebayo, I don't think you can underestimate how special of a switch defender he is guarding space at 6'9", then the ability to defend the rim. And also in Miami, he's never really been supported with another big who can allow him to basically guard in the space. Because he's got to guard in the space and also recover back.
Lively could guard into space too, though.
Nowhere near the level of Bam.
I know, but
mainly because
Bam
of
is also 3 inches shorter than him.
Sure.
And he's not the same rim protector as him. I think Derek Lively, he has the potential to be a better rim protector than him, and he can still hold his own.
Well, they're also two different types of centers,
19,
of course. Two totally
being
different
as
players.
strong as he is, impressive as hell.
Multiple times this finals, he was out on Tatum, and I thought he did well.
I thought he did a really good
He
job.
did a
Now,
he was awesome.
now this is a perfect time to mention Derek White, full vert, stuffing the shit out of Lively
That
out
was
the
a
ring.
foul.
What?
He
He got
got a
his
ball. Oh my god.
You need help.
These
They need to officiate the
Mavs
finals.
fans with these calls, bro.
They're
The officiating didn't win the series.
Hell
itching
no.
for
It's
anything,
4-1.
bro.
They need me to
series.
officiate the series,
But,
man.
Oh,
yeah.
I would
still
call
probably would lose.
I
would
would call the
say-
letter of the law.
I think the series would
Tatum gets fouled out first quarter.
Game 2 would still be going on.
Tech on Jalen Brown.
I would say the best Lively comparison would be probably a better version of like Miles Turner, where he's like what Turner is right now offensively, but what Turner was at his peak defensively, a higher version of that.
This guy needs to really learn how to shoot the basketball.
Miles
Yeah,
Turner was
no.
40% from three.
Well, yeah, but before that, there were years where Turner was 33% from three, taking about 4 attempts.
Like,
a game.
I'm really
I think
trying
it's
to
attainable
think,
for a lot
it's
of
like
centers.
he can be a better Clint Capella. Like, but maybe that's even.
No, I think the
I'm
upside's
thinking of
a
his
lot higher than that.
yeah, definitely. I
think that's his floor.
That's what I
I
said.
think
Even
that's the
better, Clint
archetype.
Capella.
A better version of Turner would
Floor.
be his archetype.
Of who?
Clint Capella.
A better
good
version
on
of
Houston.
Turner. Miles Turner. Like a
It's-
better rim protector.
It's tough because he's
more
19,
engaged
so
defender.
like your thoughts get wild. Like nobody comes to the league at 19. Centers, especially, I feel
Yeah.
like too, take some time to develop. So the fact that he's this good this early could get your mind racing into what he can become. But it's also he's 19 years old. Bam Adebayo has shown to be one of the best defenders in the NBA. Miles Turner has turned into one of the best three-point shooting bigs in the NBA. So the potential is there, but he just has a long way to go to reach those guys.
Yeah, I mean, Bam Adebayo's first 2 seasons, his rookie year, 7.6 rebounds playing 20 minutes. His second season, 9.7 rebounds playing 22 minutes. His third year, he averaged 16 and 10 with 5 assists, playing 34 minutes a night. That's really good.
Obviously,
like
he's a
that.
special player.
I know. I think in year 3, Lively could be 16 and 10 too. The assists, I don't think he'll get to 5 assists. Like he gets to like 3.
You said he could
Most
be
likely
same
not.
level defender, better than
They're
Bam.
two-
Derek Lively's
yeah,
already
recognize.
one of the elite defenders in the league right now.
They're
the
two
center
different
position.
types
Not better
of
than Bam.
centers.
I don't understand. Like, we give this hype to Chet Holmgren, deservedly so. Because Chet Holmgren is a DPOY level defender.
He's also awesome on offense.
Has anyone
No, but
compared
I'm
him to
just
Bam, though?
I'm just talking about defense though. I'm just talking about defense. Chet Holmgren, we understand his potential on defense. We got to keep that same energy with Derek Lively.
I haven't seen anyone compare Chet to Bam.
No.
No, I'm not comparing Chet to Bam, but I'm saying
different.
in terms of being that caliber of a defender, being a defensive player of the year type of candidate, Derek Lively could be that.
Time will tell, man.
His work at Tyson Chandler he reminds me of Chandler defensively.
I thought about Tyson Chandler because how
But
strong
he's a more
he is.
skilled offensive player. I really do think Lively's going to have a stretch element to his game in 2 years. Maybe take
Let's
3 or
see.
4.
So he
threes
should
a
do it
game.
next
He makes
year.
1 3, and now he can stretch.
Well, I really think the form looks good and something that he's done since high school. That's just me.
Did he shoot in
I'm
college?
I'm
That's
optimistic.
just
No,
me.
And he
No,
shot
no,
I'm
all
optimistic.
college?
I don't think so
I
at
think-
all. I can double check.
I mean, I think
they're
that'll be a
nasty.
major leap in this game because Miles Turner, from the very start, from high school to college, he was a shooter.
Brother have the ratchet.
Yeah, he was a shooter and he was taking a lot of attempts. Derek Lively, the form looks good, but
Lively
he got
took
attempted.
13 in his 34 games at Duke, but Turner was
It's
never.
not even won a game.
No, he's not
Obviously.
shooting the ball. If it's 13, 34, yeah.
It looks
But
good. It's all that
It's
matters
important to
John.
note, like
I
something
respect
that-
that.
wet,
It's
I'll be
something
honest.
he hasn't been asked to do as much. But with Turner, there were many years where he was only making 33% of his threes in 4
Listen,
attempts.
he's going to get opportunity. If
So-
you have Luke and Kyrie on this team for another 2 seasons, he's going to have chances to get open threes. If you could hit 35% of them, take that.
By the way, Turner in college at Texas, he took 1.8 threes a game and made 27%. So